Hey, I hope you're having a great day. It is raining here in Atlanta, but that's okay. I was thinking about the process of forgiving, because it's a process. It doesn't just happen in one fell swoop, so to speak. I think it can be illustrated like a journey. A journey can have different phases. Sometimes you start a journey one way and you finish it a different way. But the goal is making it to the destination. And with this example, the destination being forgiveness, fully forgiving. I think it's important to note that that journey can have different, ebbs and flows, and it can have highs and lows. Um, and I want to get into that. I know that offenses or experiences or injustices have different degrees, have different levels, but there is a certain level of power and peace in releasing something. Releasing is not the same as forgiving. And I'm speaking from my experience. You can release something by avoiding it a little bit. You can release something by choosing to separate yourself, choosing to distance yourself. And then or you can release it and just be like, I don't care about it anymore. That's not necessarily forgiving. When you are releasing something, you are choosing not to focus on it, maybe even so much as to change your environment so that way you don't have to deal with it. But forgiveness is different. Forgiveness is, I can deal with it, see it, and maybe not have no feeling, but maybe because depending on what it is, there may be something there, but it's not where it was. The level of whatever it is, the anxiety, the anger, the frustration, the it's not there anymore. And I think the reason why I wanted to put emphasis on the distinction between releasing and forgiving, because the forgiveness is where you'll really see the growth. You'll really feel the difference. The releasing can be growth. You can feel a difference with releasing something. But I do want to say that sometimes with releasing, it can teeter on the line of kind of like avoidance, or you're just you're selective on what conversations you'll engage in, who you'll engage in them with, how long you'll engage with someone, things like that. But with the forgiveness, of course you have a choice. You can choose not to be in certain environments. But with the forgiveness, that strong emotion that was once associated with whatever was done to you, to others around you, it's a difference in the weight that you feel. There's an ability to interact that would not have been there. You've seen in some trials, and it's a very horrible thing for someone to take someone's loved one, but you've seen in those court cases, in those trials, where someone will like that's their last attempt to get back at that person for whatever they took from them, whatever they did, and they will go to great lengths to try to access that person before they're in a situation where they're no longer accessible. So that courtroom was where some people will try to get their own justice, and then that courtroom was also a place where some people have done a lot of work, and they're able to be in that courtroom and have forgiveness. And whatever that experience that they've had, that's where that person is, to be able to reach whatever level they reached, whether it is time went by, they got, you know, stronger in an emotion or a feeling, and they wanted to take matters into their own hand. And in the same way where someone can say, I don't feel what I once felt, and you know, for the sake of my own sanity and my own well-being, I have chosen to forgive. So I think that's an example where you can see it carried out in different ways. But it's not easy. It's not easy, especially when there's a level of involvement and care and dedication and trust and love and so many things that associate one with, you know, fully being in something. And so you can see it too, an example of, like, for example, with a marriage, right? So you might have spouses, and one spouse maybe somehow betrayed or did something, and the other spouse is gravely injured her, but from the action. And some people can go forward and continue on in that relationship, and others cannot. It's just, they're like, I can't get past that. I can't, or they say, I can't look at you the same. But then you see another relationship where the initial feeling might be the same in both of them. The one that says, I can't go forward, and the one that ends up, you know, their marriage, they go on and continue to have, you know, marriage, but they both have that point when they are hurt. They both have the point where they're hurt, and where maybe they're thinking the exact same thing. And then there's work. There's work that has to take place in order for those individuals to go forward and even reach a level of maybe it is tolerance, you know, then releasing, then forgiveness, or, you know, however they go through that journey. But that's that walk that has those ebbs and flows. Now, for example, let's say, you know, the couple that they do decide to, you know, try to work it out, they're going forward. What do those days look like? What do those days look like? I tell you, some of them are probably ugly. Some of those days are probably ugly. They probably are. Some of those days look not picturesque. Some of those days look not Instagram worthy. Some of those days look like they're not gonna make it. You know? That's part of the journey. When you're on one of those journeys, that's what it takes. But I think what happens is we're not prepared enough to know what that journey is going to take, because nobody has a crystal ball. You don't know what you're going to experience in life, and you don't know where you're going to be when you're experiencing something in life. You know, life just happens. When they say life be lifing,
stop.
It does. Life lives. It really does. But I think the important part is, like with the journey, knowing your destination. And not to say that everybody should endure crazy, inexcusable, horrible things. I'm saying to consider, what do you want? And if you forgiving gets you one step closer, or keeps you on the track of your goal or whatever you want, just keep that in mind. It's hard. It's hard. Even as I talk through it with you right now, it's hard. I understand that forgiveness is one of those things that's easier said than done, because to say it versus live it are two different things. Like I said, some of those days are ugly. Some of the days in the journey of releasing and forgiving are not pleasant, nor are they presentable, nor are they commendable sometimes. It's not something that you're gonna record and upload and show people what it looks like to go through hard or difficult situations. I don't know how some people are able to record some things as well. Like, it could just, maybe some things just are organic, but sometimes people are able to capture some things and share with their journey and their process of life. But I think for most people, sometimes when you're in a certain mindset, going through a certain experience or a difficult time, the first thing on your mind is not to grab a camera and to capture it. You just live it. You live it, and if it permits that you can share it with someone or share it with some people, then that's what you do. And that's, I think, how we can help each other, because the guidebook to life would have so many revisions. It would have so many additions, because everybody's life is specific to all that's been put in them. Those ingredients that were put in them from a child, those environments or experiences or situations, is so unique. Now, there are times where sometimes our lives can look familiar, look similar, and I think that those are the situations that, because we share things, I think those are the times when somebody can see themselves in you, and they can feel seen, they can feel heard, they can really get some encouragement. But those might just be a few pages of your life book. But the overall book might not be identical to anything or anybody that's ever been. But there might be a few situations or circumstances in which you can see yourself in someone. You can glean something from someone. You can pour something into someone, because you do have an experience that they have been struggling or searching, or not even knowing that they were searching, to see in someone else, so that they can feel like it's doable. This is not the end. There is more. There is a tomorrow. So I think one of the main reasons why people say forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you, is because you can't change them. You can't change their mindset. You can't change them. You can change you. And the growth that I spoke of, change that I've been speaking of, that comes from you being honest with yourself and having the ugly days. I call them ugly days, but I don't know. If you know another term in the comments, please share, because I think that's just what they are. They're days where things are getting peeled back, uncovered. Maybe there's confusion. Maybe there's anger. Maybe there is frustration. There's sadness. There's just those days. I was somewhere in an Uber, and the Uber driver was telling me about her love for dark art. I had never heard of dark art. I didn't know that was a thing, but she's very passionate about it. I think I was in Costa Rica. And that's her thing. But ultimately why I say that is because sometimes in the darkness, what somebody calls ugly, some people see beauty in it. But I think the beneficial part of the ugly days is the opportunity for growth, because it does take some ugliness, some uncomfort. It does take that sometimes to create something beautiful, or something that someone has never seen before to come into existence. It will take a little bit of messiness. It'll take a little bit of moving things around, messing it up a little bit before it gets all sorted out, and you see the end, you see the big picture. But in the midst of those details, sometimes it's it's not pretty, but it's necessary. It's necessary. It does have to happen. You know, you do have to endure the ugliness, but not for long. You don't want to stay there, but you understand that it's a part of the process. Because if you went through it all smiles, would that be genuine? Would that be real? But again, I think it's our awareness. When I get to that day and I feel like this doesn't look how I want it to look. This isn't presentable. This is difficult. This is hard. Having the knowledge to know that this is part of it. It's part of it. So it helps you go through it a little bit better. And then maybe there's a day when you hear something or you decide to share something and it matches somebody else's page. And they, for a moment, they see themselves in you. Or you see yourself in them. And you get some encouragement. And you get a little bit more strength. And you choose to be a little less frustrated or angry. You choose to have a little less resentment. That boiling frustration or anger goes down just a tinge. Those whatever feelings, they reduce just a little bit. And that was growth. Just a little bit at a time. Just a little bit at a time. And then one day, you may be at the point where you say, not only have I released this, but I forgive the situation. I forgive the whomever. I forgive it. I forgive. I think sometimes that forgive and forget, forgive and don't forget, or forgive. Yeah, you're gonna remember things that happen to you. But I think sometimes the connotation in which that is termed, it's like it's still a resentment there. It's still there. I forgive you, but I don't forget. It's got a little bit on it where it's like, I don't know if you're there. I don't know if you're there. Because how some people say it sometimes. It's like, but did you really forget? Because it sounds like it's still weighing on you. Did you really truly release and then get to the point where you can genuinely say that you forgave? That's for you to decide. Well, we have come to that time. It's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, leave a comment down below and subscribe. Yeah. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.